one.
Can we have green on the right now, please?
Hey?
Green on the right.
No, green on left.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Red is port, is left. Green is starboard,
Green is
is
go.
Right.
Green is for go. We drive on left.
No.
Yes.
Port and starboard.
We're not on a boat.
Yeah, but it's water related.
Right, hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for all your support, it's been amazing so far. Keep it coming, keep your comments coming and keep hitting that subscribe button. So what we're doing today is we're doing something a little bit different from the Deadbaiting Diaries, aren't we?
Yeah, and thank you, because those have gone down so well, haven't they?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the positive comments and everything.
We're going to keep doing them.
Yep.
That's not the end of them, we're going to keep doing them, but this is a little segment where we're going to call it On the Bank.
Yeah.
And it's basically it's discussing the rigs, the setups that we use to catch the pike that we catch, and we're going to go into detail, and I'm going to actually not just show you them, but I'm going to set them up in front of camera.
Yeah, and I think it has come, hasn't it, from people in the comments just asking questions.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just so much easier to show something, isn't it? And then you've also got a reference point to go back to, trying to find, rather than trying to find it in comments.
Another thing as well, we've got a massive announcement to make, and we're going to make that later on in video, and you trust me.
Yeah. Because
you don't want to miss this.
Yeah, you can't keep your mouth shut any longer, can you? You're like a kid at Christmas.
Seriously, don't be fast forwarding.
No.
Do you know, watch the video, because you know it's good for us.
Yeah.
You know, but a bit of a sit rep. So other week I went up and fished Lake of Menteith in Scotland, and I knew it were going to be a struggle, because the night before we went and fished it, temperatures dropped to well below zero, so it was like -4
with us. It was at home.
-6 or 7 or something like that. And as a seasoned piker, I know that it don't matter where you're fishing, it knocks them off a bit, does that? But what I'll do is I'll just put a few little clips in now of that day, just so that you can see it. Really atmospheric, really misty. Don't want to bring it in too soon, just in case. I'm not saying it's a big one, but oh, it's just come off.
Oh no.
Ah, it was a pike as well. Oh, that hurts. So yeah, that were just it were one of them days. We all have them, don't we?
And a lot of people have been saying that in the comments, and I think we've just not reached that settled period yet. You know, like yesterday we got up, it was -4.4 in our garden. Today we've got up and it's like 10 degrees warmer.
Yeah.
And it's that yo-yoing, and like you say, the water stays a bit more steadier in temperature.
Yeah, not last night, but the night before, it dropped to -4.
Yeah.
So it's the same scenario that we're faced with today. But what we're doing is, we're actually fishing with one rod.
Yeah.
So we've got one rod out fishing.
Yeah.
And just for you guys out there that are interested in the rigs and how we set them up, we're sacrificing a rod just for you.
So before we came out, what we did as well was I went up into our fishing bit.
Yeah.
And because one of the things that people have asked about is
state of this lot.
So I grabbed one of everything. I hope you can see that.
I hope I'm not setting all them up.
Well, I know, I'm going to have you busy today. But just for some people knowing what sort of rod, you know, when are you going to use this against when are you going to use this, and what's good in certain situations, and why this is totally different to that, you know. So we'll go through some of that.
We'll go through it.
It's been really, really good to have new people on board and new people starting, and I'm really glad that people that are just starting are asking questions. You know,
let's get into the video. We're going to sit back and have a brew. We'll let that rod fish for a bit, and then I'll show you rigs. But like I say, stay tuned for that news because it's massive.
Which do you think you can manage to do first, the rigs, or is that going to come out first?
I'll do one rig first, and then I'll announce it.
We'll see you
How's
in a
that?
bit.
See you in a bit. Right, so first up is a rig that you'll all have seen me use quite a lot. So as you say, what I've done is I've changed to a braid that you can see easier. So first of all, what I've got is I've got a friction bead that I've threaded up the line, and that's like a stop bead for float. Put a bead on like that, and that'll slide up to that stop knot like that. Stop bead, should I say. Right, so next thing is you get an inline float. Any inline float will do. This is a Voodoo Traces Mark Out and float, but you can use any inline float. So just for an example, I use a Tronics Pro. So that's a 35 gram float, that, but it's really, they're a cheap float to buy, but look how visible that is and how buoyant that'll be when you're fishing on a river. In fact, I'll put that one on instead of that.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so all I've got to do is like a tube all the way through float, look. So I need to slide my braid through there, pops out other end, and that's my sliding float, look, to stop bead. Yeah, so I've got that on. Now what I need to do, I need to put like a little buffer bead just at top of up trace that I'm going to be putting on, and they're quite difficult to put on of these because it's only a small hole. So I'm using like a little latching needle, and then get a loop of your braid like that, and then just pull that over, and then that's on your braid there like that. Now what I'm going to do, I've got my Voodoo Traces Flank Saver up trace. So it's basically, it's got like a large bore ring and a clip, and that's where you put your lead there, and then that clip there, that's where you put your bait trace onto there. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to do what they call a Palomar knot, and basically all it is, you get a loop in your braid like that, you pass it through the swivel eye like that, do an overhand loop like that, and then you give it a little bit of a nip but not much, and then open up that there, and then what you want to do is you want to put your trace through that loop like that, and then what you do is pull that tight like that, and that's not gonna slip in that Palomar knot. And then all I do is I'll just trim that excess there like that. I'll take that home with me, that's very important, you don't leave no rubbish on bank. And then that buffer bead, that comes down onto top of trace there, look, like that, so that when your float comes down, that don't get damaged on top of trace, look. So that float's obviously sliding up and down up to the bead that I showed you, and then your up trace is on there And then basically all you're doing is get yourself a lead. It's a DS lead that we use. Clip it onto there. Clip that shut. So that's your rig there, look, like that, with your up trace that I've just tied on with your buffer bead, like that, look. Yeah. So what we'll do now, we need to find the depth that we're going to be fishing. Little friction bead, I'm just going to bring that down a little bit. So I think that that's under depth, that. So what I need to do, I need to just swing it in to where I want to fish. There. See how that float's disappeared? So I'm actually fishing under depth because my lead's on bottom and my float's come up to stop bead. So what I need to do is reel that back in, and then push the stop bead up a little bit, like that, and then try again, and you keep going until you get it just right. So you're basically looking to try and get just a little bit over depth. So again, swing it in, and we're still under depth, right? So I'll bring it in again, push that stop bead up a little bit more, like that, and then try again. And what you do is you keep going until you get it just right. And there you are, you see the float? Hopefully you can see that. Now that's standing up. I call that dead depth. So that's fishing straight down to lead, and you're not going to get it any better presentation than that. If you're fishing on a still water, that's pretty good, that. On a river, when you've got a bit of flow, what you do is just add a couple of inch more so that that float comes up and lays on an angle like that, so it's not pulling over with flow. And then as soon as you get a bite, what you'll get is, if you've seen in some other videos, in fact we can put a little clipping of it working now, can't we? Yeah. What you'll get is you'll get that, and then it'll lift up, and then hopefully it'll slide away, and that's when you wind down and hit them. So that's your inline float rig that you can use on still waters, you can use them on off a boat, you can use them on the rivers, canals. They're quite a versatile rig to know how to set up, and they're all bits that you need to do it. Right guys, the big announcement. So what happened was, it were I think it was back end of October, wasn't it?
Yeah, it will have been.
There were we got a private message from a guy, and to start with I thought it were a bit of a wind up.
Yeah, because we do get a lot of messages through the channel,
Yeah.
don't we?
But he said to me, he said, I've reached out to you because of you know, I've watched your channel and the exemplary fish care that you use, and he said, what I want you to do is I want you to come and fish my private lake. Now he assured me that nobody ever fishes it.
Yeah.
And he said he often walks round, and in spring, I think it's springtime, innit, or something, when ducklings are out, he says there's like this massive swirl and then ducklings disappearing.
Yeah.
And he said that would we want to come and fish his lake for pike?
And also just for his, because he's not a fisherman, is he?
No.
So I think he's been intrigued.
He's wanting to remain anonymous
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, which is fair play.
But he were intrigued as to what you know, what were in his lake.
Yeah.
It's quite a sizable lake
Yeah.
as well, and it just don't get fished.
Yeah.
So, but he did say to us, he said, you know, I don't want you to film it,
Yeah.
but what I want you to do is, if you do catch something, take a picture of it. So I said to him, I says, are we allowed to share like still images then, like if we blur out all background and
Yeah.
you know, you won't be able to tell where it is. So he said, yeah.
And to be fair, we didn't know what was in there, did we? Or
No.
whether it was going to be a jack, or you
Yeah.
know, lots of little jacks that could have been quite active.
But he said that he don't want us to name it, which you can understand, can't you?
Absolutely.
So anyway, we went and fished it, and I got a little bit of information off him, as you know, to where it were happening and stuff like that. And then I went and fished it. Well, we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
And you'll never guess what happened. I only went and caught my first ever 30-pound pike, weighing in. And it's funny, you know, because we've had sort of people like putting comments on saying, oh, why don't you weigh big uns and all of this lot. So this one particular time we decided to take a set of scales and a waistling.
We never do. We never do. But I think it's because this guy was so intrigued, wasn't he? And didn't know what were there, and we didn't know.
30-pound 8 ounce.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to put 2 or 3 still images of it in now.
Yeah.
I mean, oh God almighty, what a fish! What an absolute! I were
Well, one
I were gobsmacked. I couldn't talk.
Yeah.
I didn't
One,
know what
you
to
didn't
say.
talk, and I knew, so that was like, all right. And then 2, you were your face was just a picture.
I was stunned.
Just the size of this thing, and I think because we all know what 30 looks like by social media and other people's pictures and stuff like that, but you never properly imagine holding it until it's there in your arms, do you? And she was an absolute beauty.
Yeah, and it's like I say, unfortunately we can't really put any video in of it. So
no, we've been asked not to, and we will, you know, we're not going to change that any. But yeah.
I've had a 30-pounder. I can wear my 30+ jumper now with pride.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them about, so to get one of them, hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll let us fish it again at some point.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, for reasons beyond our control, we can't tell you where it is or who he is.
And I don't think we'd want to either.
No. So if you're watching this, thank you so much for letting me fish your water.
Yes.
So there you go.
And thankfully
I'm in the 30 club.
Yeah, one of the times that I was fishing with you, because that seems to have felt like a bit just with other commitments.
Yeah.
You know?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
30-pounder. Blown away. I hope they like buses and we get another.
Nice,
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But having caught that now, that sort of made me season.
Yeah.
You know, not even that, but it's the fish of a lifetime for me, because it's not trout fed.
No.
I don't like that. It's a natural 30-pounder, and we only fished it once.
And I think it also
There could be out in there.
But I think it also shows us a bit of inspiration to people that we didn't do anything different than you'd usually do. We didn't do anything special. There were no change of method. There was no change of bait. There was nothing different about what you did. Basically,
what I did was I caught it on a straight ledger setup with a mackerel tail, and I put a bit of holy mackerel's mackerel and lamprey in it, caught it on a voodoo trace.
So it's everything exactly the same.
And I'll tell you something, talk about fight.
Yes.
Didn't it?
Yes.
Oh,
And just when you thought it was going to come in,
we're off again.
it set off
30
like
yards easy.
Yeah, yeah, like a steam
So-
train.
Let's not bang on about it.
No, we hope you've enjoyed the photos though anyway.
Yeah.
And we hope it's an inspiration for everyone
Yeah.
to get out there. And it's been really lovely that, you know, a couple of guys have taken up fishing again
Yeah.
after a break. So
Let's get back to fishing.
yeah, because we are watching a float at the same time.
Yeah. Right, so the next rig is one that you've seen my good friend Matt Waldridge use a couple of times, and it's the pencil rig, or the pencil float. And basically it's that type of float, so it's a bottom end attachment like that. So what I'll do is I'll use that one just for the purposes of video. So to start off with, as you know, I've got my friction bead still up the line. So what I need to do is I need to put a bead onto the line. So I thread that on like that. Then you thread your float on. Now Matty uses like a large bore on a clip, don't they? And we'll not bother putting that on for purposes of video. It's just attaching the float. So you just thread your float on like that. So it's bottom end only. Put another bead on like that. Then what I need to do is I need to attach my weight. Now in this instance it's I think it's a Fox Rage, like an egg sinker, but the important bit is you've got to have something in the bottom of it there to push your swivel into, so that it's sort of semi-fixed onto the line. So I'll thread that on, so that's on line like that, look. And then what I'll do is I've got a swivel and a stay lock snap there. So what I'll do is that's for attaching my wire trace. So again, same again, the Palomar knot. So I'll get a loop in your braid like that, pass it through the swivel like that, and then do your overhand knot like that. Pull it down a bit like that. Open up your loop in your braid and pass that stay lock snap and swivel through it like that, and then just pull that tight. Same again, it's going nowhere that. And again, just trim your tag end off like that, and then you can push that lead down, and then you push it into swivel lock like that, and that's what holds it in. So open up your stay lock snap like that, thread your trace on and snap it shut, and then that's your rig there, look. So you've got your float, like that, and your wire trace like that there. So that's your setup and your wire trace. Right, so what we'll do now is, like I said, what I normally do is I'll feel around swim first before I put the trace on, and if there's any snags there I won't fish it. I'll fish a different area. Just flick it in. That float lays flat, but that's what you want. So you put it onto rest like that. And then all you do is keep your eye on that float and you tighten up to that lead. See that float's moving? Like that, look. And that's how you want to fish that. So basically what you've got now is that float is tight to that little inline lead that we've put on. So what I'll do is now I'll simulate what happens when you get a bite. That. See how that float laid flat? Now what's happening there is the pike's picked up the bait and it's moved that lead. So because you're at an angle like that, as soon as it moves that lead, that's when your float will go like that and lay flat. So that's a take, that's a take. So basically what you do now is you pick up that rod and then you just go like that and hit it, because that's a take.
Where do anglers keep the money?
Don't know, where do anglers keep the money?
Riverbank.
Seriously. Yeah. It's in there. Feels like a decent fish, Catherine.
Good.
Yeah.
What is it? Do you want me to net or? There we go.
That's a good fish, that. That's not small, that.
Good. See?
Way up.
Patience has paid off. Yeah.
That's not a bad fish, that. Oh, even in that cold water.
Yeah.
That's scrapping. Wow. Oh, girl, in you come.
Oh, nice. Oh, look. That's great.
That's not a bad fish, that, you know,
It's not,
Catherine.
is it?
Go on, open up, girl. That's a good fish, that.
That is a corker.
Oh yes. What about that?
Nice, do that. Because I want that on there.
That's a good fish, that. What about that?
That is lovely.
A gravel pit pike. Do you know what it is?
Go on.
I'm going to dedicate this one to John Bull.
Yeah.
Because that's an absolute cracker.
Yeah, it's. Do you want to go back in the net or? Oh.
Calm down, girl, you're alright. Just going to give you a little bit of first aid.
Just check this.
Right. There you go.
Beautiful. That's a lovely
Right.
fish.
Let's get her back in. What about her? Look at the length of her.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a bonny fish. I'm just gonna try
Look at that. Right, let's let her go, eh? Yeah?
Yeah, whenever you're ready. But she is pretty.
There she goes. Look at that. Wow. What an absolute stunner. Oh.
Look at that, she's just... You won't be able to see probably because of the reflection, but there is a pike sat over there sulking. But there's a man there with a very happy look on his face.
Get in. That were an absolute belter, wasn't it?
I'm absolutely chuffed because
That rod has done nothing all day.
yeah,
Just a couple of bleeps and bang, clipped out. Oh, good fish as well.
I'm well chuffed.
Good fish.
See, I'm obviously a lucky
Yeah, you can come again.
Oh,
And you
thanks.
lot can as well. Simply by hitting that subscribe button and that bell icon. Right, the next rig that I'm going to show you is the bobber rig. Now, I've used this rig quite a lot on my local canal and done quite well on it. And it's a good way of suspending your bait up off the bottom. So if you're having problems with eels or crayfish attacking your bait, and you want a mobile bait instead of a static bait, so you can chuck it around, you know, moored boats, bridges, overhanging trees, things like that, this would probably be a rig that you'd want to be using. So what we'll do is we'll start off with, I've got my friction bead up the line, and then what I want to do is just put another bead onto the line like that. So that'll go up to stop bead. Then what I want to do is get my blobber float, put that onto the line. It's a Grace Prowler 20 gram. Right, so what I want is I want an egg sinker that's less than 20 grams. So what I've got here is I've got some 12 gram medium egg sinkers. Because what you'll have is, you'll have that to cock your float, and then the weight of the bait as well will keep your float upright. So you're direct to your bait. As soon as anything touches that bait, you'll see it on float straight away.
And in fact, again, what we'll do is we'll put a little insert in of us doing it, because it's amazing, isn't it, when you're doing that,
when you see it go,
and you see just like that boing.
Yeah, when
It's
you see
great.
it go, it's great. And it's a mobile approach as well, so you can, if you can go light, you can fish a load of different areas. So what you want to do now is you want to put your little insert on to the line, so there's a slot in it like that, look. And then what you do is you get your egg sinker. That's got a slot in it, and then what you do is you put them opposite to each other like that, so that that egg sinker can't come off. Yeah, and then all you do is pull that little rubber down and put that rubber over top of that. That's it. It's a bit fiddly, but once you've done it, you can leave it set up on your rod. Like that. So that's your egg sinker on line there. And then what you want to do is put like a little friction bead onto your line. Again, I'll use my little latching needle. So like into there, pull that over, so that's onto there. And then what I'll do is I'll use the Palomar knot again. So I'll get a looping braid and I'll get my swivel and my stay lock snap again. Through eye at swivel like that. Overhand loop knot like that. Pull that tight. Open up your loop again. Pass it through. Bring it to back at swivel. And then just tighten that down like that, and that's going nowhere. And then again, get your scissors, trim your tag end, push your stop bead over, and that's your rig there. What you'll do is you'll fish it up to that friction bead, but what you want to do is find out what depth it is where you're fishing. So keep pushing your bead up till you see your float bob up to the top, and then what you do is you put your wire trace on. So your wire trace is 18 to 20 inches long. So what you want to do is pull that stop bead down by about 2 foot, so that basically what's happening is then when you cast your bait out, your bait's about 1 foot off at bottom. So if there's any pike laying on bottom and that bait goes straight over the top of the red, bang, they'll hit it, and then your float will bob and sail away, hence pike on. Obviously I'll have a trace on with the bait on it, and then I'll cast it in. See that float bobbed up then? So that's basically your bobber rig setup. And what'll happen is, if you get a take on that, 9 times out of 10 you'll see it bob, and then it'll either sail across top or it'll disappear. Right, here's another one for you. Very underrated method this, but I tell you something, it counts for fish, but it takes some setting up. But it's the drifter float. See that wind pushing across? If you can cast that float into that wind, similar to the bobber float, fish it a couple of foot off a bottom or something like that, that'll drift along in wind. And basically what you're doing is you're covering a lot of water with this rig. If you buy the Fox drifter float, what you'll get in the setup is, in the box you'll get that. Right, so what I want to do, try and thread my braid through there. It's a little bit fiddly, but once it's set up, you can leave this on your setup. So braids come out other end, look, like that, and your float will slide down to there. What I need to do now is I need to put my egg sinker on. So using the same egg sinker again, thread that onto the line. Like that. Then you put your stop bead on. So like that. Into your latch. Thread that onto your braid. Like that. Get your stair lock snap and your swivel. Make a loop in your braid. And then pass it through swivel, through higher swivel like that, and then do an overhand knot like that. Pull that tight. And put that through loop that you've made, and then pull that down tight. And that ain't going anywhere, that. Not going anywhere. And like I say, just trim your tag end. Keep hold of that. Push your stop bead down. That's your drifter float rig there. Yeah. What you can do is you can keep pushing your stop knot up till your float lays flat, and then you know that that lead is on bottom, and then you move your stop bead 2 foot up line, and then hopefully what will happen is you'll put your bait on that, cast it in, wind will take it, and you can fish it 100-150 yards if you need to. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a trace on that, I'm going to put a bait on that, and I'm going to try and catch a pike on it.
So I don't think you'll be able to see the float. You might be able to, but when Sean cast it in, it was here, and because of the way the wind's blowing today, it is perfect conditions for using that drifter float. It's come all the way across here, and I can just see it there.
What you can basically do with this rig is you can present a bait where nobody else can cast, and that's the beauty of it. So if you're on a pressured water and you use this rig, if it gets out to beyond where casting range is, the fish won't see it as a threat because they've never been caught there, they feel safe there. And that's where it comes into its own, and you end up catching fish that you wouldn't normally catch. Right, we're coming towards end of session now, guys, so you know we're sort of losing light a bit, aren't we? It's getting a bit dark. I hope you can see us.
Yeah.
But we hope you've enjoyed this video, because we wanted to do like a more informative video, but we ended up with a cracking fish in between, didn't we? So I couldn't be happier with that. But if there's anything that we've missed out, or anything
that hasn't made sense,
if there's any questions that you want answering, just drop them in comments, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Or if there's another topic that you'd like to see, and one of the, you know, we have covered a lot of stuff on floats and how that's fished today. Yeah. But there might be other things that you know, big questions like that, especially if you're first starting out, or you know,
or if you want to just try a different method,
Yeah.
just for, you know, freshen it up a bit if you're not catching on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've always got those options, haven't you? And it's like we were saying, the first rig that you did, that is your go-to one, and everyone will have a go-to one.
Yeah.
But it's also good to, you know, remind ourselves there's other things and different ways you can try.
Yeah, the float ledger's killer.
Yeah.
You know, you can leave it set up in old all, and you can use it. You can use it on rivers. You can use it on lakes. You can use it on canals.
Yeah.
You know, the versatile rigs, you can use them in a lot of different places.
Absolutely.
So give them a try.
Yeah.
Like I say, if there's something you're unsure about, let us know, and we'll do our best to answer it.
Yeah. But meanwhile, take good care of yourselves.
Yeah. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah. Drop us a comment, because we love hearing from you, and we get some really healthy debate as well, don't we? And for now,
yeah, we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
So till next time,
Tight
tight lines.